minute after, so let's go ahead and get started. And we are recording.
All right. Thank you, Molly. Hello, my name is Brian Waters. I'm an account executive here at Bales and Associates. Before we get started, and if you're not familiar with Bales, I'd like to take a second to tell you a little about who we are. We were founded by Jamie Bills in 1995. We have been a partner in the Infor community since 1997. Our focus is completely on Infor. We focus on human capital management, cloud suite financials, and supply chain. We've been doing this for quite a while and have a very strong reputation in this space. From that reputation, we do have some deep roots in Lawson in our implementations. We pride ourselves on the job we do, and if you have a chance, it may be worthwhile to check out our class ranking. We're very proud of that ranking that came out maybe a month or two ago. So that's something we encourage people to look at. If you're not familiar with Bales, this gives you a good set of how we're looked at and viewed in this space. Part of our team, we've been involved in the development of the Infor Cloud Suite, and actually, some of our consultants delivered the training for all the Infor partners and the people at Infor. Our average tenure of our consultants is over 15 years, and a little over a year ago, maybe probably getting closer to 2 years, we became a subsidiary of Nordic Consulting. Just a side note, today's session is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be sent to all registrants. If you're not registrars but would like to receive the link, please email Molly Velasco at balesllc.com to request a link. Again, we'd like to thank you for joining us today. Let me turn it over to Alex. Hi, Alex, it's all you.
How you doing, folks? Nice to meet everyone. Just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Alex Sells. I've been in the Infor Lawson space for 19 years. I currently reside in Houston, home of the big band, and I'm also a big beach fan. It's been a pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet everyone. Let's get with the presentation. So let me see here. There's a little housekeeping that I need to do. This is a disclaimer. This is more for informational purposes. This in no way represents a warranty of any kind or a contract. If you wish to get more information, please contact Bales and Associates to make sure the solution is tailored to your needs. So we're here for you, so in every way. This is the agenda for today. We're going to cover Supplier Portal benefits, the setup, what the elements that are required, the feature and what's new, and we're going to have a Q&A session towards the end. So it's going to be great. Supplier Portal, every supplier knows your name. What does that mean? It opens doors that were not there before. If you're a buyer and you're out in the field to purchase and to go out there and get the best deal, like having more suppliers in your team will give you the leverage that you need to excel and do well. So a couple of the benefits, we're going to start with the collaboration concept between buyers and suppliers. We want to increase that collaboration so that the buyers are not dependent on suppliers that they know or information that's sitting on drawers or anything like that. As you know, as suppliers grow, it also provides a forum for competition, which allows a better pricing in every way. Supplier classification of goods and services means that when you send out an event, an RFP, and RFQ, it's going to be dictated by the commodity codes, so you get exactly the suppliers that you need at the exact time. So it's perfect for RFPs, RFQs, and then this type of decision-making information. Not only Supplier Portal supports strategic sourcing, but also provides a myriad of services beyond that. And that's what also I'm going to be bringing to the demonstration today. And it's many other aspects of it beyond strategic sourcing the Supplier Portal supports. Suppliers can benefit proposal for services. Also, one cool feature is the performance evaluation. Let's say if you have many suppliers that have bid on your events and you want to evaluate and you have certain criteria to evaluate that supplier, like you may have diversity codes or certain things that you want to measure. You can create a criteria to measure the qualifications of the suppliers and then make a decision based on metrics, not on, well, he's the uncle to the CEO, therefore I'm going to prefer that. None of that. It's going to be a lot more objective. One section that is awesome is the supplier order management section. It allows suppliers to look up information, their POs, their receipts, payments, contracts. It is a very rich functionality. Suppliers can can also have PO acknowledgments sent to the buyers, which is a huge, because in the past, EDI was a function that would provide that. You would send an 850, an EDI PO, and you would get an 855 back. Right now, suppliers that aren't registered in the supplier portal, they can send out PO acknowledgments, which is a huge feature. This is a new feature that has been integrated into the CU. Critical update referring for. A couple of supplier features, centralized applications that to allow that collaboration via the all loss and FSM system. So this is your external system that goes out and allows your suppliers to communicate with you within FSM. So there's a forum for collaboration, there's messaging, you can negotiate terms, you name it. The nice thing about it is it's all documented within the supplier portal, within FSM. So you don't have to look through drawers wondering where the information is. Suppliers can register themselves, means that it takes out the burden of somebody calling AP, accounts payable, to register a supplier or a buyer to register a supplier. So they're not having buyers and AP are not having to constantly checking these things. The suppliers can help themselves, which is huge type of e-commerce. A couple of considerations for the supplier portal is their strategy, how to implement. First, before you touch the software and start making a lot of changes, you need to create a vision for what type of goods and services your organization will need, and list out the vendors and find out what you would like to do. Licensing, the level of expertise required by your organization. Buyers may not have that experience. You may need to provide education. Disclosure requirements to experience provided by goods and services. Level of access you'll provide your suppliers. You may not want to show payment information to those suppliers, or you may want to exclude some things, and we're going to touch the Supplier Group, which controls the major functionality of everything else. Promotion of Supplier Portal. Where are you going to promote? Is it going to be on your website, or you're going to involve marketing in it? So these are all considerations that are very important before you actually implement the software. Have a vision, have a plan before you go for it. I would like to do a demo of the Supplier Portal. A couple of things. This will be my Supplier Portal demo agenda. First thing within the setup, which these are the things you'll need. Commodity code structure built, commodity codes, and a supplier group. Afterwards, I'm going to be going into processing. I'm going to show you Supplier Portal self-registration. Where do you register? We're going to do a features review. And then lastly, we're going to be looking at some of the new features, which are pretty cool. So I'm going to be switching over a bit here. Commodity codes. The first thing we're going to look at is commodity codes. The structure is where you can go up to 6 levels on structure. For this exercise, for this demonstration, we're going to go through 3 levels. These levels can be, for example, office supplies, and you might want to specify which type of office supplies, and when that family, which class of office supplies. So you're going down the road explaining how deep you want to go on your office supply. Commodity codes is the standard by which you're going to go. Your suppliers are going to register it under a certain commodity code, and that commodity code is what would regulate what kind of RFPs or kind of events or contracts that they would get. So only those suppliers that are registered under that commodity code will get selected for the operation. Very important. Anybody has any questions? Commodity codes are standard. Suppliers should know that, but anybody has any questions so far? As far as what I presented so far? Okay. We're going to move on to supplier groups. Supplier groups is the central nervous system where everything related to the supplier portal is configured. I'm going to go through some of the important screens here, like portal contacts, where the contacts for administrative contacts, where they're going to go. Where do you want as administrators to the portal or informational? The portal links, welcome to Enforce Supplier. These would be customized to your organization. It would not be Nordic, it would be your organization. The instructions, where do you want the instructions to be welcoming? Please register yourself. Informational, let me pull this up over here a little bit easier to see. If you want to handle attachments, for example, have your company logo added to it, which is that it has that flexibility as well. And the portal homepage, instead of saying welcome to Bales Suppliers, you would have whatever written welcome that you like based on your organization. Based on these, I'm going to move over to, does anybody have any questions about the supplier group? It's basically the nervous system where everything is controlled in terms of supplier administration, how you're going to present the pages. One important, very important, let me move this over a little bit, is what kind of access. This is critical. And again, during your planning, you want to know within strategic sourcing, if you have strategic sourcing, what kind of responses? Can they see metrics? Can they see plan holders? Can they see that the primary and then other contacts? Extremely important within contract management as well. What can they view? Can they view contracts? Can they negotiate terms? Can they manage subcontractors? These are decisions that will display in the supply portal. So it's important that you be aware that these things are coming up and then needs to be decided upon. Again, this presentation is going to be wide open, so all the features in the supplier portal are going to be demonstrated. It would not reflect or may not reflect your organization because I'm showing everything that's available to you. So these are the decision points. Can they view purchase orders? Can they create acknowledgments? Can they view receipts, returns? These decisions are part of your organizational discovery or strategic planning for supplier portal. Really important to be done before the supplier portal supplier group is set up. Same for messages. Do you want them viewing messages? You want them viewing supplier performance? You want them creating item proposals or recall notices? So a lot of rich functionality really need to be set up under the supplier group. Let's change gears a little bit and go into processing. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Alex, there was one in the chat about can you show us what the logo, it says you added your logo as an attachment, but can you show us what that looks like for the supplier? So what I indicated is you'll be showing the actual supplier portal. It is the Bales one, so that they'll get to see exactly what a supplier would see based on how you configured it here. So I think we've got it covered, but definitely let us know if we do not.
Sure, that's correct. The next step that I'm gonna show you is the actual supplier portal, which would be a little colored a little different. And I'm gonna sign out for a minute and show you what it looks like for a supplier portal. For someone that's trying to register, they would see this paging here, they would see this information. When they sign in, when you click on sign in, they'll see the logo up here of the organization. To this point, I'm going to just, for now, I'm going to show you the actual registration process and what's involved in it. I'm not going to register a supplier, but I will show you the options that you have as you register a supplier, as suppliers register through the website. The first section would be the supplier would pick a username, password, phone number information. tax ID, mailing address, and at that point, they would check here if the remit address is the same as the mailing address, and then they would accept the terms and conditions below. Following that, they would have the option of setting up their banking information, diversity codes, questions, commodity codes they're required to set up, because that will tell the buyer which supplier is available for events. This really what links the buyer to the supplier in terms of receiving events, contracts, and things like that. Certifications for commodity codes, are they certified to a certain period? Is there proxy notifications when a contact or primary contact is not available? Would there be a proxy status of it? And then the actual status of the registration process, where they stand. So I know it's a bit of an overview, but I wanted to give you a flavor of that. The next step we're going to go is to actually look at the supplier portal and its features. So this is a fully blown, all the options, supplier portal options that I'm going to be showing you. The first page is the supplier portal page. If you noticed, you'll have contact information. You have some helpful links here. Welcome to Supplier Portal. Click here for more information. We don't have item proposals, but we do have a couple of things here. So let us go to the home page, which will show you the same thing, and the events. Now, on an event, I'm a supplier, and I received this from the buyer because I am registered under the commodity code to receive RFP proposals or sourcing events under that commodity code. That's what regulates the process. I can come in here and respond to this, and I accept the terms. I would like to negotiate the terms, or, I can respond to different lines. I can go respond to the questions here. I have questions that would require how many years do you have in the industry. I can attach information, and then eventually in the total, I can submit the response. Who's going to get this response? The buyer in the response. Your response is incomplete. I need to go back, but this is kind of the concept of being able to respond. A supplier can respond. Can multiple response from a sourcing event happen? Yes, they can. So that's how the power of the application to have responses and being able to respond to multiple. These are the responses. Folks responded here. RFP response, status is open. You can view the response or submit the response. I can submit the response. Submission is completed. So you have a complete solution. So you see it disappears here because the response was submitted. You can look at it unsubmitted. This is the unsubmitted. Now it'll be under the submitted. Response is open for awards. There you go. There's my response. So I submitted that are open for award. So very versatile when it comes to that. I want to touch a little bit on contracts. These are my contracts that I have available. I have 2 contracts here. I can view my active contracts. I can open it up. If you notice, there's terms and conditions. These are my lines for the contract. These are my contacts, which happens to me. So it's unlimited. If you have redlining and you're negotiating contracts, the redlining and on the documents and the contracts would be here, where the contracts are. I just wanted to show you. I don't have any redlining or I'm not negotiating contracts, but I can show you where the functionality is within here. There's also this drop down that'll let you navigate. You can propose contracts. Suppliers can propose. Let's say there's not an open bid on a contract and there's nothing out there. Hey, I'm supplier so-and-so. I'm looking to offer you a great price on office supplies. I can I can go out and propose it. And, it's up to the buyer, the buyers or the contract manager to accept the contracts. These are the accepted ones. So far, he hasn't had any, or rejected. So the functionality is great because it opens up the supplier the supplier does not have to wait. He can propose. Amazing stuff, because in the past, you just had to do contract management as an outcome of an event that happened, RFP, a contract would be generated, or vice versa, contracts would create events. Now it's like you can propose contracts and make them happen. Change orders, we're not going to discuss. All contracts from my supplier. If we, this is, again, you might want to, this is all the contracts that are out there that are active. You can view them. And you have your terms and conditions, you have your lines, and you have your contacts. So there's also statuses here. There's something here. Just let me know, hey, your contract will expire within 90 days. So what do you want to do about it? You want to create a supplier message, let me know, hey, is this negotiable, or what are the next steps? And you can provide an attachment, and you might want to have a response required. Means the buyer has to respond to this. They're expecting a response required. Make a priority a little higher than that and submit. Boom. You have put out there a contact, you're expecting a reply back. The second part of it here, which is huge, is order management. As you can see here, any questions on anything that I've shown so far? Anything that kind of springs up or I could answer? Okay, we're going to go into order management, which is another part that would be extremely helpful. Alerts. There's an alert on this purchase order that the shipments were not received. Okay, and the supplier has a chance to start a dialogue here. We are looking into the matter, or provide an attachment. And then, if you don't want to make it a response required, in this case, the supplier is responding to it. Boom, you can respond to it. And again, I'll go back, and if you want to look at the message dialog, this will provide you the back and forth. As you can see, these are the open messages. These are high priorities. I opened this message, normal priority. We're looking into the matter. Prior messages, you can see what happened, shipment not received. This one here, sorry for the delay. So it keeps track of your messages, and there's also email. If you configure it, also emails being sent back and forth. You can manage your self-created invoices, and again, traditionally, these are unsubmitted, and these are your submitted. Traditionally, you go through AP and go through it. You can submit an invoice right here. So the functionality is there to submit invoices. I haven't submitted this one because I'm still working on it. Let's take a look. So as an invoice for $300, you can add the service contract information and you can submit it. What happens when I submit it? Invoice must be equal to the amount. View the invoice. So let me pick up here. Let me see here. There you go. So you can adjust it. Change completes. Distributions updated. So it gives an idea what kind of operations and you can do. So the supplier is communicating directly with FSM. And another option is also acknowledge orders. PO acknowledgement, huge. Right here, the supplier is acknowledging that they got the order. You can go in here, and if you have any questions, you can start a dialogue. As you can see, hi Mark, hope you're doing well. Let's review PO. So if you have problems, you can acknowledge. So this handles the acknowledgement portion of it, which is a new feature. View order details. You can create acknowledgements for something else, or you can start a dialogue. So very versatile when it comes to that. Orders mean purchase orders. So these are my purchase orders. And if you want to open one to take a look at it, you can open it and then look at it. And is there any receipts? Yes, there is a receipt that was created for this order. If there's any issues in acknowledgement, yes, the issue method was paper. So you can view, you have a complete view of the PO, the receipts, and the issues and acknowledgements right here, right at your fingertips. Suppliers also have control over where their POs are at. So instead of making a phone call or find out, hey, we got this purchase order, they can acknowledge it right away. We shipped it, or, other things. This is the receipts. You can view receipts. If you look at it, you can look at a receipt which was released, or you can start a dialogue again. Everything is based on it. I can say nice receipt or something. Is aware that there was a receipt transaction happening in FSM for that PL. Should you provide that information to the supplier? Yes or no, depends on your organizational requirements. What are they looking for? Submit a response. Those are the receipt lines, and then the overview. Invoices, that's another feature that you can count on it. Let's look at the dashboard. These are invoices. You can look at all the invoices. You can look only at the open invoices. We haven't submitted any. You would see the payments here if they were paid. If you decide to provide that information to the supplier that something was paid, it would pop up, as payments here, or would provide you that you paid this invoice. Any type of exceptions, any overdue invoices. There's one here that's overdue. So it's up to the supplier to follow up, and you can look at the details, of that. Very powerful. So Supplier Portal is not just for strategic sourcing. Again, it's a very powerful tool. This is an overdue invoice. So is expedite. Submit. There's your message dialog. Please expedite payment. Okay, it's tied to this. These are my open messages with dialog. Response not required. I can make a response required. Message details. That's when the message was read, and it wasn't read yet. So the supplier can see when it was read in all the details of it, if you choose to do so. Payments is the same way. If you decide to offer the ability for your suppliers to look at payments, it will be listed here. Returns. These are returns that were made to the different transactions. This is the dashboard, and you can look at your open returns, closed returns, or return requesting RMA. So huge in terms of being able to look at returns, the RM, are what they're asking, what the buyer's asking, or what's being requested. The items. You can look at items tied to contracts or items tied to certain elements right here. They're all here. There's a message here. Quantity on hand is below reorder point. What is below reorder point? Right here. So you'll be able to see that. One huge thing right now too is manage notices. I have a notice. I just happen to have a notice. So you can report a notice, but I have a reported notice. Right here, defective item alert. Okay, that goes automatically to recall management. The item life cycle, here's the item right here, defective item alert. So recall, if you have recall management, it will be managed through recall management. They'll get pending notices right here. So from that aspect, you have that ability. We discussed a little bit of performance. These are evaluations, event metrics. You want to, when you have multiple suppliers bidding on a contract or bidding on an event, RFP or something, you're going to have a lot of responses, maybe 10, 12, who knows how many you're going to get. You want to be able to have a method of evaluating not only for price, but also for some elements like diversity codes. You might want to, you might have a requirement that you need to do this contract or award this contract to a minority or whichever one. So these are processes that you can create to evaluate your suppliers and the metrics. The evaluations is how well the supplier has done through time. How well, and then do you provide a score? You get a score for that. Same for metrics. What are your metrics? 20% is going to be percentage of events bid success, line bid success, amount of success. Again, you can set this up so that you have the kind of metrics you're looking for. 93% of the supplier bid were successful and they did a good job. So these are different metrics that you can associate. My account is just, going back to account. The registration for this profile is complete. There's contact information for commodity codes. The commodity code that the supplier is registered for is 44, office equipment, accessory, and supplies. What does that mean? If I have an RFP or an event that is not tied to office equipment and accessories, this supplier is not going to even see it. So, and they also have a certification that expires, that's tied to this commodity code that expires on 12/26/2024. Let's look at messages and dialogues, okay? Dialogues, here's my inbox. As a supplier, I have an inbox, okay? And I have all of these items listed here. Dialogue about the invoice that I created. I can open that up. You can mark as read, mark as deleted, mark as historical. You can even start a new dialogue based on that. You can view the invoice that is associated with this, which is this, or you can start a new catalog or, more information. Trash is self-explanatory. If you threw it, if you don't feel like you need it anymore. These are my open messages that I'm waiting. They are not read yet, even though I sent them. So you can track, the supplier can track the open messages. So the application Supplier Portal is really a view to a supplier, but it also an awesome communication process for collaboration with the buyers. And you have also the details right here. So we have a complete solution, not only for strategic sourcing, but also order management, contracts, and everything else. In summary, I would suggest you take a second look at this product because this product offers a lot more than just strategic sourcing. It offers a myriad of functionality that will help you in terms of saving time. Your suppliers will have greater visibility to your processes. And number one, the collaboration will go much higher and hopefully will provide the benefit that you're looking for. With this, any questions that you have? I'm just going to turn over a little bit.
And Alex, we did have some questions in the chat.
Sure.
And the first one I'm just kind of getting clarification for, but I'm actually going to read them. I apologize for doing this, everyone, in the reverse order. But Juliana asked about whether this could be utilized for suppliers to enter their only bill-only orders, and can an approval flow set up for our internal team to review? And that's so funny because one of our coworkers, Mark, was just talking about how he's thinks that would be a brilliant idea, I believe, or it may have been Bill. I know we heard it. And I do know that folks, someone is entering an enhancement for that. But as of right now, there isn't a functionality where they could enter, say, a requisition, if you will, that would go through the approval process and over to PO. Not yet, but we were hoping that'll be there soon. That's a brilliant idea. And there is another question, Alex. I didn't know the answer. I said I thought we'd need to follow up, but they were asking about how the contract functionality, Susan asked us this, would work if when the GPO is used. So I said I was going to need to follow up. So she's going to get us her email so we can do that.
Yeah, we'll definitely follow up on that question and get you an answer for that. So.
Yeah. And then the last one, I was actually just typing a response to Ben right now. So Ben has indicated that they are not using the supplier portal, but they're interested in how many vendors or suppliers within Bale's system use the supplier portal and how many do not. So I'm going to go ahead and hit what I just started to type. I'm just going to go ahead and say, first of all, any of the clients that are using strategic sourcing are using the supplier portal for the bidding for the events. But what we're seeing right now, and I'll let Alex touch on that as well, is that we're seeing an increase in the number of clients that want to use the supplier portal even without having using strategic sourcing or doing anything through redlining or any contract management through the portal. They want to use it for those nifty little features that Alex showed, having the ability for those mom and pop vendors that don't use EDI today and being able to go ahead and put a confirmation in the, through the supplier portal. Think about how huge that is to your buyers to now have that in the system. Yeah, and with that new functionality, again, kudos to Infor on that one, where I can see which orders have not received confirmations yet. This is a great way. Some of you may be thinking, Metatrade a little bit, but it's a way that they can do that. But having that visibility, and the fact is, and Alex, cool point you mentioned was you guys control that. So we're seeing an increase, and I would say, Ben, I can't think of a number off the top of my head, but we can certainly poll our audience and find out. But I'd like to ask, do we have a second real quick so I could ask Alex? Do you think, how many of you
Absolutely.
today?
If you feel, I'm just asking the audience, do you have feedback on number of suppliers that you're currently using right now, or anything that would be help Ben, because one of the things that I want to bring up too is that Infor is constantly adding functionality into the features into Supplier Portal. So it is committed to the success of that. So anybody that has numbers of suppliers or things that they would like to interject, are more than welcome to this, to elaborate on that. Anybody?
You can either post it in the chat or take yourself off mute, whichever you'd prefer. And Ben, one thing I can say is I am aware of two very large organizations. They are healthcare, both of them, and they are using the supplier portal as the point of entry for the vendor ad process, that the vendor would first register on the supplier portal, and that would be the initial point of entry. So they're using it for that particular function, is really to start the process there, whereby then the vendor would submit the appropriate documentation that's needed, tax forms, etc. And then they would be verified and it would go through from there.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that too. So are they requiring all their new vendors to go that route, or are there still, like, some are doing another way and then some are doing the supplier portal way?
Yeah, so for the ones I'm talking about, it's one of those things too, and I'm going to take a step back. For those of you using FSM, the contracts are built under a supplier. So in order to build contracts, oftentimes we have built the supplier already, and they may not be utilizing the portal, but they are set up as suppliers. So what I've seen at those 2 sites that I am personally aware of is that any new vendor would be required to register through the portal, and anyone that was existing would be given a login, and then they would reset their password, and that they would have the ability to view, and I don't recall where each of them ended up on, all the different functions. And now, of course, you've got acknowledgments and more. Alex, that was awesome. So there's a lot more out there. And that's pretty much what we're seeing, is that I think this is, people are realizing, and that's why Alex, was so excited, because, we work with clients that love this, and really are saying, ooh, how can we enhance it? So we really wanted to introduce to all of you guys that how you can use the supplier portal, because believe it or not, we've had a lot of folks say it's just if I'm using strategic sourcing, and it's not. And I think Alex, you said that up front. I love the way you said that.
Yeah, I'm
it's
really
a
excited about, because the possibilities
ways.
of offering you value
Yeah.
right away, of allowing suppliers to kick off the process and give them more visibility. I mean, it'll free up the phone lines between AP
Mhm.
and asking about invoices and all that, and it'll potentially put dollars back on the organization if you want to be from a financial standpoint, because the suppliers will not be calling AP and saying, hey, where's my invoice? They can see all the information right there. So value added and features, which is huge.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Chair.
I think, well, if you ask us 6 months from now, we will be able to say that we are definitely seeing more clients utilizing the supplier portal, either as a front end for registration. Um, I think everybody encourages and says they would like all of their vendors to do that. But I do know in some industries, you also have to provide an alternative in case they are not able to have access, believe it or not, in this time frame, or in this time right now, to a PC or to the internet. You need to provide some alternative. But I think the goal is to really try and encourage that. And a lot of it's going to be, I think, Alex, you mentioned this up front, is really planning up front for what do you want to open up and what is going to benefit your supplier and what's going to get them excited about using the portal. Because obviously it can be a huge benefit for your organization, but Ben, to your point, we've got to make sure we get them excited as well about, or at least if not excited as Alex and I, but just get people interested in using it and to see the benefits for them. And Alex, those were all the questions in the chat. So we do open a follow-up on one, and I'm actually typing an email to follow up about Juliana's question about the bill only request, because I love that one. See what we can find. Any other questions for Alex?
Yeah, we'll continue. And again, that does not mean that we are not open to questions. Feel free to ask as well. We're here for you and to help you succeed in every way. So with that, we'll conclude the presentation, but there's some more information I think that Brian or something wants to share, or
Sure.
Molly. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Alex and Jerry. That was a great session, and thank you for all for joining today. Our next Informative Friday session will kick back up in July, so keep an eye out for that. I don't know what we'll have it posted on our website and work out loud some of the subjects that will be offered on those Informative Friday sessions. As a closing thought, we do have a coffee with consultant offering. We wanted you to be aware of our offering that allows you to have a half hour at no charge with our consultants. If there's something you'd like to discuss today from this presentation or anything regarding your info needs, please reach out to us via our website, and we will set you up with our consultant again at a half hour time frame at no charge. Thank you all for joining, and we look forward to seeing you in July. Thanks again, Alex and Jerry. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we do have one last question in the chat real quick, and that's from Juliana. It says, how do EDI transactions integrate with FSM? Of course, I told her I could spend hours talking about EDI. So Juliana, if you have a specific question, go ahead and put it in the chat and we'll go ahead and respond. Otherwise, if you want to take advantage of our coffee with consultants, I of course will have a Diet Coke, but let us know. And we can help you out, or give your email either in the chat or to Molly, and we'll make sure we take care of that, because EDI does a beautiful job integrating into FSM. Alex, awesome. Is there anything you wanted to add before everyone says goodbye?
No, I want to thank you for the participation. And again, Bales is really looking forward to reaching out and being part of the implementation process, or any questions that you have, please reach out to one of us. And I want to thank you very much for your time, and I'm looking forward to hearing back from all of you. Thank you.
All right. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye now.
Great job, Alex.
Thank you.